Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm live again. I usually go live on my Instagram, but today I'm live on Facebook. This is actually the fifth episode that I'm doing, and it is geared toward recovery. The main purpose of me doing this is to show other people that recovery from drugs and alcohol is possible. Because when this pandemic hit, I mean, more people now than ever is on social media. A lot of different resources of people trying to get sober, how to stay sober. They don't know what to do. All these places closed. I mean, we got these meetings on Zoom and everything, but they don't have access to it. But what they do have access to is their social media. So I created this a few weeks ago, and it's just other people who have struggled with drugs and alcohol will come on, join me, and they'll share their story basically. And today I have one of my friends that's gonna be here live. He'll be with us shortly. He'll be telling his story, basically on how he got sober and how he stayed sober. And I met him when I first got sober, and he was such a good example for somebody like me to follow. Especially when I first got sober. I mean, I really had to learn how to listen with my ears and not with my mouth. I was famous for doing that. And I was doing all the talking. And then somebody told me, hey, if you're doing all the talking, you ain't learning anything. And I was like, oh, yeah, I got offended. But it was true. But anyway, you guys, let's see, where is he at? He should be here soon. Okay. So I don't want to, get too much into his story. I'll let him tell it, but we'll just wait a second for him to go on with us live. Okay, he'll be here soon. Thank you guys for your patience. Okay. Okay. Hey,
That might be it. That it, man?
there.
There we go.
What's up, bro?
Old man can figure it out. How you doing, man?
Yeah. Yeah,
You
yeah.
got me
Pretty
up there?
simple.
Yeah, yeah. It's better on my phone than it was on my tablet for sure.
Oh, really? Oh, okay, okay. Right on, man. Thank you so much, for being here, for doing this. A lot of people, as we know, it's, down there, they're struggling. The pandemic hit. We don't know, people don't know how to get sober, and the resources that I had when I got sober, it's not too at their disposal anymore. So, but what they do have is their social media, and that's something that I thought about, and that's why I started doing these shows, is to show other people that recovery is possible, man. But right before you came on, I was talking about how when I think I first met you. I think was it camping at Lake Paris? Was that it? I forget.
Might have been. It might have been.
I
Yeah.
think it was my very first trip camping when I was sober, and then I met you. We spent some time on another camping trip that we're not going to
Yeah.
talk about,
Yeah.
but that one was really fun as well. So thanks again, Johnny Shoe. So I mean, you got so much nicknames, man. Johnny Shoe,
I do.
Big Dog, Johnny from Hollywood. You get so much different things,
There's
you
a
know.
there's a lot, man. I can't keep track of them all, dude. But it comes from being having a lot of friends and having done a lot of things. So uh, I guess we'll get this thing rolling. My name is John. I'm an addict. Thanks, Alika, for having me come out here and do this. It's a pleasure and an honor to do this, and I tip my hat to you, brother, for doing this kind of stuff because you're right. Um, when you and I got sober, we had meetings at our disposal. We had thousands of meetings to go to every week
Hmm.
in person to get to meet people. And this is we now have to help one addict helping another this way
Yeah.
because we're not really able to do a lot of face-to-face stuff, and it's not like only getting all the all the nonsense and politics behind it, but some people aren't prepared to go to face-to-face meetings, and I get that. And right now I'm one of them. but this is a way to get people involved and to know that recovery does work. Like I said, so and thank you for starting these, because this is something that's this is helping your recovery too.
Oh, definitely, yes.
You know, and that's important. I watched you from afar for a couple of years now, suit up and show up, you know, and get this and make big strides, and you know, you've gone and you've gotten this job and that job, and you married Marissa and Marisol, and it's now you guys got a kid.
Yeah.
I hope your parents are good, man. Give them my best. And you know, like I said, man, being sober is fantastic. You know, it's the greatest thing that I've ever been able to get a hold of. My higher power does some great things for me. And you had some questions for me, but we'll get into those in a little bit. Right now, I'm just going to give you a little bit of background on what went on for me, what happened, and what it's like now. You know, I never felt like I was a part of anything, like I belonged anywhere until I found the rooms of recovery. And that's not saying that my parents weren't great, my family wasn't great. My family, my cousins on both sides of the family, everybody's great. Everybody's awesome. But it's what I was feeling on the inside, or not feeling, or not feeling a part of. I didn't know what I suffered from. I suffered from alcoholism and addiction at an early age, but I didn't know it. You know, none of us know it when we're 6 years old and we don't fit in. Or none of us know it when we're like, 12, and we're just, completely sad for no reason. You know, and I remember my friend in sixth grade would come up to me like, "Dude, what's wrong? Are you okay?" I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong. Like I'm totally like crying and sad, and I can't figure out why. And there's nothing that I can point to say that, oh, I got a bad grade on a test, or Shelly dumped me, or my parents splitting up. None of that was going on. None of those things were happening. It was just me not relating well to society. And that's how my life went. That's how my life was going. I never felt like I was included or part of anything. Like I mattered. Like my opinion didn't matter. So that was tough to kind of navigate life that way. But nonetheless, I kind of persevered and went on and started to kind of get out of that funk a little bit and move into to high school. And that's where I started drinking. I started drinking a lot right off the bat. I had friends that were older than me that were first generation Irish. Their parents were old school from Ireland, and they drank a lot. And I hung out with these guys, and they were a couple years older than I was. And they liked that I kept up with them. And we started smoking a lot of pot. And right when I got just out of high school, I found cocaine for the first time in the back of a UPS truck. And that was my introduction to cocaine. And when I took that first line of cocaine, it's like everything made sense. Everything was perfect. Everything was right on. This is the way I wanted to feel my whole life. Where had this stuff been my whole life? I couldn't get enough of it the first time. And I was like, man, this is effing great. And how can I get more of this? And so I go home that night, and I come back to work on Monday. That was a Friday. And the dude who gave it to me got transferred. He wasn't going to be on my route anymore. And I was like devastated. I was pissed, literally pissed off that my connection was gone in a mere 72 hours or 48 hours. And I was like, damn. So I kind of put it behind me. I said, I'm going to be going to college. I'm going to go into SDSU in a few weeks. I'll probably find something like that down there. Not a big deal. So I go about my life, and then one day I'm coming home from work, and I'm on the 10 freeway, and I see this UPS truck. I'm like, I'll bet you that's Chemo. And Chemo was this dude from Hawaii. He surfed, and he was like 35 years old. And he was cool. He was really cool to me because he came to the shop every day to deliver stuff. So I got to know him. And at this point now in my life, people like me. Like I like people. I figure out I like people. People like me. I start to form relationships, even though they may be acquaintances or whatever. But there's genuine back and forth with me and other people, and I seem to get along with almost everybody. It's not normal for me, but I kind of try to I'm trying to get this life of mine going because I'm 18 years old now, and I know that I'm going to be leaving home soon. I'm going to be on my own soon, and sure enough, man, I see this UPS truck and I think it's chemo, and it's not. But there's a string of them, man, because it's that end of the day. It's like 6 o'clock at night, and it's like in mid-August, and so it's still light out, very light out, and I get behind the 7th one, and it's not him. And then I get behind the 6th one, and I go around him, it's not him. And the 5th one, I'm weaving in and out of rush hour traffic on a Wednesday night in LA in 1989, and traffic was still bad then too. And the 4th truck was him, and he spots me, and I spot him. He says, "Meet me down at the depot." He says, "Go to the depot. Follow me to the depot." And that was it. I chased cocaine for the next 13 years, rather unsuccessfully.
Mm.
And I didn't get that first high back again. And I didn't know it wasn't coming. I thought it was going to come at some point. And so I was there, and I kept going and kept going and kept going and kept going. I was really good at getting fired. I was really good at getting girls to leave. I was really good at trying to get rehired and could put the suit on an interview and get the job, but then I'd wind up screwing it up because wherever I go, there I am. Because I don't know I suffer from addiction. I don't know I suffer from alcoholism. I don't know this at the time. I think I'm just some wild young guy. My friends are all they're all like me. They're all drinking Budweisers and smoking joints, and we're all smoking Camel Lights and going to the beach and going out every night, going to bars every night at 18 with fake IDs, hanging out in the Hollywood Billiards pool hall. We thought we were kind of untouchable in a way. And I run off to San Diego to go to school, and I wind up getting thrown out my first year because I really don't pay attention. I don't study that well. And I find that there's guys down there that know how to smoke pot way better than I do, way more than I do, and I kind of join them. And I start smoking pot every day. And I'm drinking every night, smoking every night, smoking it all day, every day. And I just stopped going to school. I just stopped going to school, and I wound up getting thrown out. And it was a wake-up call for me because I was pretty disappointed in myself. And I thought, okay, I can fix this. I felt bad. My parents kind of blew all that money that first year. I tried to get back in, and I couldn't. And what ensued was a series of colossal fuck-ups over the next 5 or 6 years. Again, I can form these relationships with people and get them to like me and get them to hire me and get them to think I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. Because I'm actually being genuine and real, but wherever I go, there I am. And eventually, I come to a place where I gotta get loaded. That's just all there is to it. And so I can get that job and impress you for a few days, but then I start to stray over here and stray over there, and then it takes time for people. It takes time for that varnish to wear off. I can still charm you, and I'll still go out of my way to make sure that you like me, so you don't fire me. Eventually, you're going to fire me. I'm just trying to stave it off as long as I possibly can. Eventually, I'm going to fuck up. So these things take time, and luckily, and I abuse them, and the people I work for, and I don't know how to act. I don't know how to be civil. I know how to be disruptive. I know how to be demanding. I know how to be rude and sensitive. I know how to live with expectations. And so my life really doesn't go anywhere, and I can't figure out why it's not going anywhere. Yeah, then what's going on, buddy? Um, Everything is always messed up. Everything, all the time. Work, my relationship with my parents, Pyro, my relationship with girls, my relationship with some of my friends, I'm Marisol, is all jacked up. All jacked up. And if people put up with me for a short time, and then a long time, and then a short time, and a long time, then I got to keep doing damage control because I got to keep getting high. I don't know how to act around people, and people should just give me stuff, right? People should do things for me, right?
Yeah.
That's not how life is, and I kind of know this, but I'm so deep in my disease, I can't see it. Um, all these little side hustles going on, all this little stuff going on, trying to rob Peter to pay Paul, um, all this nonsense until finally, I'm kind of running out of credit, run out of money, run out of everything. And I'm sitting there, it's summer '96, and I've quit my job at a law firm. I walked out on them. I've run up a couple of credit cards. Um, and I had nowhere to go. I got nowhere to go, nothing to do. And so I'm thinking to myself, what can I do? I gotta get a real job. And it was around October of 2000, no, October of 1996.
Oh.
And I go and I apply at this one store, and they hire me after me berating the guy for a week or two. And I take to it well, man. And I take to it well, and it's a job selling shoes. And I'd never sold shoes before. I was selling men's shoes at Macy's during the holidays in Century City. And I was like printing money. I was like, I couldn't do any wrong. Like I would sell this to this guy and this to this guy and this and this and this and this and this. And they were like, wow, we're going to make this guy permanent. We're going to up this guy's commission. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And again, I get people to like me, and I can start to do a really good job. But eventually, wherever I go, there I am.
Right.
And I still got to get high. Now, it's not like I've been sober this whole time or any of these times. I'm just kind of keeping it on, to myself. Not getting too far ahead of myself. So I wasn't the kind of guy to go steal for it. So, I could kind of white knuckle it for a while and kind of, grin and bear it and kind of, maybe take some cheap wine and take the edge off. But I had to have some kind of head change. I could smoke a little bit of weed here and there, so I just had to get out of myself. I couldn't stand who I was. I couldn't stand what was going on between my ears because I just didn't like it. I didn't like what was in my heart. I didn't like any of it. And I didn't know that I could change. But when I took drinks and I smoked pot and I took cocaine or LSD or mushrooms or opium or anything that I ever did, I didn't mind myself anymore. I didn't say I can't say I like myself, but I didn't mind who I was anymore. And so that's kind of where the nickname Johnny Shoe came from. When I was selling shoes, I got really good at it, and they kept me around for a while, and then I started to get back into cocaine shortly thereafter. I started to get paychecks because that's how it goes. You get paychecks, you get loaded again. And I had this new dealer. His name was Manny. I said, Manny is John. He says, John who? I says, John from Macy's, the shoe guy. He says, oh, Johnny Shoe. That's who you are now. You're Johnny Shoe now. I said, okay, well, that works for me. And that's how I became Johnny Shoe. And I did that for a while, and then later on in life, Bert and I were playing Mafia Wars like 12 years ago, And I needed a name, a screen name. So I was like, oh, I'll be Johnny Shoe. And so Bert started calling me Johnny Shoe everywhere. And that's how all you guys now got to know it out there in the Inland Empire when Bert and I were we're hanging out in Orange County together. And then we went back to the Inland Empire in 2009. We both moved back there to go to school. And Bert and I were in a band in 2009. We were both going to school. We were both like chilling. I think we were both on unemployment. We had these mirror lives, and we were like, just like, it was like great because we didn't have to do hardly anything but go to school and jam all day and go to meetings and stuff like that. So our lives are pretty good. So I'll always look back on that. And Bert, I miss that guy all the time, man. But these are things I get around here now. You know, I still had had troubles with who I was, and then in the mid '90s, right after that, I got that job selling shoes. This girl comes along, and I think I can stay sober for her, and I want to stay sober for her, but I can't. And another one comes along, and then I can stay sober for her. And so what I do is I have this big blowout the night before my first day with her, thinking it's gonna be the last time. I'm not gonna do it again. And I stick to it for about a month because I'm all about emotions. My using is tied to me emotionally. That's why when I go out on emotions, sadness and anger, like that kind of stuff. So conversely, when I feel good, I don't always need the dope. It's weird sometimes. I've seen this happen to me a couple times. I get high off the new girl, and I can have a couple drinks with her and be content and be all right. And I can go home to my house the next night and chill and talk to her on the phone and get off the phone with her, and then like smoke a bong hit and then like watch a movie and go to sleep. And I don't get in any trouble, but I'm not necessarily looking for cocaine either. But at the same time, I'm still not completely digging who I am and what's going on. So I'm like, all right, well, now what am I going to do? So, well, wherever I go, there I am. So eventually, the newness of the relationship wears off. And what am I left with? Just Johnny Shoe again. And that's it. And Johnny Shoe by himself is not in a good space. So I pick up the phone. I get what I got to get. And that's it. And this continues. It never ends. It just continues. And it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. It never gets any better. I've never come back into a room saying, it's great out there. I never came back into a meeting after and be like, hey, it's great out there. You guys should try it. No. I come back and it's gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. And eventually that cycle repeats itself. And she comes and she goes. I try to get her back, and she comes back and she realizes why she left in the first place. And I get a new job. Then I get a new girl. And then she leaves, and then I get her back, and she realizes why she left in the first place. And that cycle goes on and on and on. In '96, I did try briefly to get sober on my own. It didn't work out. I didn't really know about NA or CA, any of that other kind of stuff. I knew AA, but I was like, well, I don't have a problem with alcohol. I had a big problem with cocaine. And so what's up, Michael? I gotta figure this one out. So again, in 1998, a boss of mine said, hey, I know you got a problem. I said, yeah, I got a problem. I confided in this guy. And this guy I didn't know had 2 years sober at the time.
Oh, wow.
And he says, why don't you go to NA? I says, well, I do that, I guess. What's that? So it's like AA, but it's like for narcotics. I'm like, all right, man, I can give that a try. So I went, but I really wasn't ready to commit to anything like that yet. So a lot of guys told me a lot of stuff. They took me under their wing. I learned a lot, and a lot of stuff made sense. But I thought But it's that old thing, man. Accept spiritual principles and live a better life, or continue what I'm doing. And I had to think about it, and I had to mull it over, and I had to take a few months to kind of do some more research and development to make my decision. And I ultimately went back out and stayed out there for a while. That was in May of '98. Finally, in January of '01, I thought, well, maybe I should try this again. Because it kept getting worse. And it kept getting worse, and it kept getting worse. And I kept experiencing deeper levels of pain and deeper levels of frustration.
Mm-hmm.
And what I didn't know at the time was incomprehensible demoralization, which is what the book talks about right now. And I'm like, well, let's try it. I got nothing else better going on. So I said, all right, let me try it. And I get a couple months, and I get a couple more months. And then, hi, Michelle, I get this job. I get this job running boards, running commercials for the Lake Elsinore Storm out of the K-Frog Studios in March of '01. And I got about 60 days when I get this job, and I think, man, this is great, man. Sobriety is really good. And I'm doing it, and I'm doing it, and I'm doing it, and I'm learning a lot and getting to know people. And my girlfriend is kind of my ex, kind of estranged, kind of my girlfriend. I don't know what she is from day to day, and I can't quite figure out what's going on. And she really pisses me off. So I said, I'll get back at her. If this married chick wants to have an affair with me, I'll just do that. That sounds like a good idea, right? And so I began to have an affair with a married woman at my new job. And eventually I go back out, because relapses are always part of, they don't just happen that the night that I went to San Diego and bought a 12 pack and waited for my buddy to come home. That happened when I started making bad decisions a few months before to have an affair with a married woman. Now, she had her own stuff going on. She had come off a big miscarriage. Her husband was completely pissed off at her, was treating her really bad. She saw me as someone who's also being treated badly by his girlfriend, and we help each other out. And so there was kind of one of these, let's, misery loves company type of thing. Let's say we can both maybe at some point get a little happy with one another. And that didn't work. And disease and madness are just disease and madness. No one ever needs them. Hey, dog. But eventually, I run out of options. I run out of.
Yeah, you said something. I mean, pretty much everything you're saying, I can relate to. Like I have done it, but it's so funny. Like the thing you talk about the emotions. I never thought about that. That makes so much sense to me. But then you talked about the girlfriend, and then she leaves, and then she comes back. I mean, I've experienced that so many times in my life. Like I could not hang on to a woman to save my life. Like
No.
literally, I could not, and I didn't know what I was suffering from, just like you. I was totally in denial a lot of the time that I may or may not have a problem with drinking, with using drugs. But every woman before my wife said to me, "I do not." My wife was the only one who said that. I do. But it's actually a direct result of recovery. Honestly, my wife saying that, and then now we have a baby. But that one is so powerful, man. Like you know, like how similar it is. Like I cannot hold on to a girl either. I want people to I can get people to like me because I feel inadequate, insecure. So I'll laugh at their jokes. I'll try to be funny, just to feel a part of. But like you said, the first time I did cocaine, I was like, damn, I found it.
Yeah.
This is it. And alcohol as well. I'm like, wow, I can drink even more now. You know.
And then the first time I ever found alcohol, it was the same thing too. I failed to mention that, but that was at I mean, I remember it was like this chick Chris Lee's house. It was the
Yeah.
day we got out. We were freshmen, and I had some wine coolers, and everything was. I was taller, I was funnier, I
Yeah.
was, I was braver. Everything was better. Um, and so I think you had some questions that you wanted also to
Yeah.
hit on, but I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, real quick before I move on to the questions, bro. So, um, you know how like we were just talking about it. We can't hang on to a woman, but I seen you've had a girlfriend for a long time. She's beautiful, man. You guys
I
look
know
so good together. Like
this
seriously.
this is great. About recovery is that I took a lot of what I learned around here over the years, and Aurora's seen me for a long time, and I had a couple sober relationships before that didn't quite pan out. Um, but this is completely different than anything I've ever been a part of. Just taking a lot of what I learned around here over the years, a lot of trial and error, a lot of trying, a lot of saying yes, and then when I met Patty, I knew right away that there was something different about her that I'd never met with anybody else in my life, and the first thing she said something, I don't remember what she said to me. She said something to me like, "Oh, that was a mistake," and I said to her, "No, there's no mistakes. There's just lessons learned." And that was the first thing I ever said to her, and it somehow resonated with her that I was someone that she wanted to get to know, and vice versa. And so we've just done nothing but um, be respectful and kind and reciprocate to one another since the day we met, and that's been we're going on 10 months.
Yeah.
That's a long time for Johnny Shu. But it's completely different than anything I've ever been a part of. Um, she's great. She's wonderful. I get to respect her and I get to love her. I actually like her, who she is, and that gets reciprocated as well. So I'm very happy about it. Very happy
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm so happy for you, bro. Yeah. Thank God. Congratulations.
Hmm.
So yeah, I have a few questions now. Here. So the first one I would ask you is what keeps you sober today? Because what? By the way, how long have you been sober?
I've been sober for 18 years and about 2 months now. What? Yeah, 18 years, 2 months, and some change. Um, what keeps me sober is what's kept me sober from day one. It's my higher power. So when I, was discussing part of my abuse and using before, I knew of a higher power, but I didn't fully concede to my inner myself that my higher power could restore me to sanity. So it was easy for me to do step one and admit that I was an addict and an alcoholic. My life was unmanageable, but um, turning my will, turning my will to a higher power, um, and believing that the higher power can restore me to sanity, um, was the key. That was the difference this time. So my higher power is definitely what keeps me sober. Now, my higher power has had to be somewhat transformed and modified over the years because what has kept me, the God that I had in year one, year two, is not necessarily the same God that I have today. It's
Mhm.
been revamped. It's been expanded. It's been strengthened. It's been delved into deeper. It's been more understood, more brought out, um, um, because as I've stayed sober longer, I've experienced more um, sorrows, more joys, more aspects of life that I need to a be grateful for, the good and the bad, but also to how to handle. And I don't always know how to handle stuff, but now after being sober for a while and having done some of the work and some step work, the promises do come true. Situations that used to baffle me no longer kind of baffle me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Cool. Okay. The next question is, did you ever have one of those aha moments? And if so, what was it?
I don't know. I know I had a couple out there. I know I had a couple aha moments, had a couple aha days. I think for me the big one, and I was talking to my friend of mine the other night, was step nine. When I was going and making all my amends to people, face to face, my parents, and my grandmothers. I mean, my grandmothers were like really good to me, like my whole life, both of them, and I didn't have um, um, I had them for a long time. So well into my adulthood, well, and almost into my 40s, I had both of them. But so I owed them a lot. of amends, because they, grandmas will sit there and they'll throw you $20. You gotta go see them, right? And then all your grandparents really want to do is see you, even if it's for 10 minutes, But making amends to people and my family and a lot of my friends, that was the aha moment. That was where I was like, man, I don't want to do this again on this scale ever again. I'm going to watch what I do. I'm going to watch what I say. I'm going to watch who I hang out with. I'm going to really think about the things before I do them, And it's made a big world of difference it's been a world of difference to me. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. And I've been asking people this recently. I like to get people's, because one thing recovery has helped me do is to keep my mind open, period. But I've asked people this question, and I'm just curious. I'll ask you as well. What's your take on non-alcoholic beer?
I think it works for a lot of people actually.
Yeah.
It's something I think that I know that there's I know the Heineken 00. There's no alcohol in that at all.
Uh-huh.
That's the equivalent of Martinelli's. Basically, so there's no alcohol in there just because it actually says beer on it is fine. There's and the zero alcohol is zero alcohol. Those things I think are absolutely fine. Uh, yeah. So to each his own.
Right.
I had a sponsor a couple years ago, and he was all into them. He was into the old duels all the time, and
Yeah.
he liked them. He said that there's you can't get drunk off them, and he said that the tastes. I said I used to like the taste of beer, and so now it's the same. I can't have it. He says I don't want to get fucked up. I don't want to get drunk, but sometimes I have it. This nothing will satisfy that taste. He says than that. Awesome.
Yeah, honestly, for me, I actually never ever liked the taste of alcohol at all.
Oh yeah.
But I when I got drunk for the first time, I was 13, and I got trashed on Coors Light, and it's like drinking water, But I never did like the taste, man. But I love the effect it produced for me. Like you were
Sure.
saying, taller, I look good. All of a sudden, I can talk to the chicks, and all these different things. But alcohol literally did for me what I could not do for myself back
I know.
then.
Yes.
Yeah, and then it
Absolutely.
turned out to stab me in the back, man. Yeah. Okay, the next one is, what would you say to somebody that's trying to get clean and sober now? What kind of advice or what would you tell them?
This is a hard one because while I want those, I can sit here and the book says only we can't decide for one another who's an alcoholic.
Right.
Okay. But between you and me, man, I know if some cat who can't stay sober, who's spending his paycheck, who's robbing people, who's doing whatever he can to get loaded, probably not. He probably needs help.
Mhm.
But they gotta want it for themselves. Like it's easy for me to see that. Okay. But if that guy doesn't see it, and there ain't nothing I can do about it.
Right.
That's the hard one where I go, if they want to get sober, if they ask for help, because that's the first part of it. Again, I can tell a lot of people, man, you need help. You need help. You need help. Because I've been there.
Yeah.
Not that I'm better than you, because I've been there before. I was on that sinking ship. And I mean, somebody helped me get to a lifeboat and get on the Carpathia. I got off the Titanic. Um, um, it's David in Orange County talk about the paradigm shift,
Uh-huh.
and that's where you have this sense or feeling about you, or this transformation within you,
Hmm.
where it becomes possible for you not just to want to get sober, but to work to stay sober.
Right.
And sometimes if you don't have that, like I didn't have that in 96, I didn't have that in 98, I didn't have that in 01, but somehow I got it in '02.
Yeah.
So if you really want it, and you really got to work to get it. The thing is, what I have seen for me and for a lot of others, even the small amount of work around here pays off big time.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of like going to work and they say you make $20 an hour, but in essence, you're really making about $150 an hour because of you just get back so much more. Like it's just so easy. Like when admitting, I remember mopping floors with Danny at the
Yeah.
spaghetti dinner back in August of '03. And just doing little stuff like that. Being the GSR of the Colton Friendship Club Friday night candlelight meeting at 6 months was a big deal.
Yeah.
Was a big step for me. I wanted it. I wanted to do whatever it was going to take to be necessary. So if you really want it, the advice I would give, I'm not leaving the advice giving business. But if someone were to ask me, I would say, do everything you possibly can around here. So that means go to a meeting every day. Go to a meeting every day for 90 days or every day until you feel at least 90 days. Until you feel like, you're cool. Get the books that we have. Get the big book. If you're somewhere else, get the basic text. Get the 12 and 12. Get it Works How and Why. Get whatever you can and start reading them. But then not just read them, but go through them with someone who's been through them before. So get yourself a sponsor.
Right.
And start getting a sponsor, start working the steps and that kind of thing. Get a commitment at a meeting. Show up to the same meeting, at least one meeting every week, and show up there regularly and not just on time, but early and get to know people.
Yeah.
Get a commitment there. Get a few commitments. Make it so that you feel you have to go when you don't want to go. People are looking forward to seeing you. People are depending on you. And what oftentimes happens too is you look forward to seeing those people too. We always forget this. You look forward to seeing her or him or her or him or whatever the case may be week in and week out. So that's another reason why you go. It's attraction rather than promotion. But I'm telling you, if do everything that you possibly can, sponsor, meetings, books, commitments, fellowship, everything you possibly can, to stick around and do this. Some people have to go to rehab. I never got to go to rehab. I was a guy that always went to meetings and went to meetings. And even in '02, when I finally got this, September 30th, 2002, I went to the noon meeting across the street and it was in Colton, across the street from K-Frog. I think Danny and Aurora at the time lived around the corner at that time. And I would go there a lot at noon. But I went to a meeting every day.
Yeah.
I went to a
Yeah.
meeting every day.
Yeah, like everything you just said, it makes a lot of sense to me. We I guess you could say we both got sober the same way, I guess you could say. Um, but like nobody to this day has ever told me, you're an alcoholic, you're an addict, you're this, you're that. I would listen to people's shares, I would go through the book and work my steps with my sponsor, and I would identify myself. I'm like, oh dang, yep, yep,
Yeah,
yep, 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 yep.
yeah.
And it's like somebody been following me around for 20 years and wrote a book about me. Like that's what I started to feel. I'm like, oh my goodness, these people know me, and everything that you just described, the meetings, the fellowship, like that was the same things that was suggested to me, and that's what I did. Like you talk about going to the meetings early. I used to do that. I would go to the meetings early. I would meet people. I would start to build these relationships because what I heard was Aurora would say it a lot. Actually, she would say, stay in the middle of the herd, and I actually understood exactly what she was talking about when she said it, because when you're outside of the herd, you can get picked off real easy. So like
Sure.
I myself in the program. I was my first year. I was in a sober living, and I went to meetings every day. I had commitments, in meetings. I had commitments at the area level. And the one thing that this program has taught me is it's taught me how to think about you more than I think about me. And honestly, just that one alone can totally change your whole life. You just do just that one
Mm,
thing, instead of constantly thinking about yourself,
yeah.
like what I used to live my life, you know. But the one thing that I really when I first got sober, and then with my sponsor. So typically like what I learned is okay, you listen, and then you like this guy, what do you have to say? You go approach him. But I went to my very first meeting in Rancho, and then this guy comes up to me at the end of the meeting. He introduced himself. He bought me a book, and he said, "Here, call this guy." And then, bam! 4 days later, that guy became my sponsor. But I was just talking with him. I met with him through Zoom a couple days ago, and we were talking about this. And because, like, for him, it's like I believe God chose him for me, because till this day, as long as I've known him, he has never ever told me what to do. He has never made me do anything. He literally has suggested things. He challenges my thinking, and when I come to him with like I'm frustrated, this or that, some sort of problem, he never just goes, "Oh, here's the answer." He'll ask me questions back, and we start to interact. We start to talk, and I think that to me, he's allowing me to have my own experience. He's not trying to take my free will away, and I think because of that, I mean, it's been so effective for me in my recovery, and that's exactly the way I sponsor other men. That's what I learned. That's how I learned it, and that is the most attractive thing that I will continue to want after for my sponsor is allowing people to have their own experience. I mean, like I've
Yeah.
shot myself, but plenty times, and he didn't say, "Oh, don't do that, don't do that." He never did tell me
Yeah.
that.
That's good. I like what you said there too. Like it's this program did tell me to think more about you and less about me. And I found that to be very, very comforting also, but also very fulfilling and very
Yeah,
what's the word? Satisfying or freeing or whatever you want to call it. Um because when I started to get out of self, I started to become more involved with you.
yeah,
Um my life got a whole lot easier, better. I was faced with a guy early in my sobriety. And I mean, I'm talking like maybe I got like maybe 30, 40 days.
uh,
And this dude comes into the rooms and he's got this kid with him. And my sponsor knows him. He knows my sponsor. And I've known my sponsor for what? At this point, a month, 35 days. And I'm hanging on to him like for dear life. And this dude, Bobby, man, he was in there too. And I was trying to help this guy out. And here I am with like 30, 35 days, helping this guy out with like 5 days, and it was cool. It was cool, and I started to understand what that meant and what was going on, and kind of like getting the big picture and seeing what it was all about. And
hmm
it's not about me. Stop making it about me. Stop. And I was part of me was like, fucking thank God. Like I'm so sick of myself. Like I need to get away from me, man. Get me as far. And then it was just so easy to kind of do. Like there's been so many things in sobriety where I've been like, it just happened. Like I just get out of myself. Or I stop being. I mean, Aurora knows I was a complete huge dick. I was like a giant asshole. Always mad, always upset, and that has slowly subsided over the years. I'm not nearly as angry as I used to be, but
Well,
it took me a lot of work and a lot of stuff. My higher power working with me. I had to go to anger management. I had to do a lot of stuff, but
yeah.
that's outside help, which the book does talk about, which is cool. So yeah,
Yeah, when I remember when I was new, and I still hear it to this day, they say you just got to change one thing, and that's everything. And honestly, for me, what happened was, like the doctor's opinion talks about having a, entire psychic change. Until that happens, there's very little hope of your recovery, because my thinking was the problem. So, like my addiction, that disease, it just oozed over every part of my life. And the main problem that I learned is centers in my mind. When I
sure,
first read that, like, man, that was so true. Today, that's only half true, because I also have the solution in my mind. So, but it's just up to me which one I'm gonna use, what tool I'm gonna pick up. Am I gonna lash out? And just like you, bro, like I'm nowhere near as like an angry bird like how I used to be, because I'm okay with everything not being about me today.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable, man. Life
And
changing.
I'm also okay with not with everything not being okay. I'm also okay with everything being just the way it is.
Yeah.
If there's something that I need to change, then if I have the power to change it, then I'll change it. If I don't have the power to change it, then there's nothing I can do about it. I was talking to Patty last night about something, and do I have the power to change this or not? And I do have I can say something to this effect, and maybe I might get a little relief from the situation. Um, or maybe I won't, but I won't know unless I try. But we're kind of talking back and forth about it, like, do I say something? Do I not say something?
Hmm.
How important is it? What's the big payoff? What's the big deal? Pick your battles, that kind of stuff. So it was good conversation last night. It was kind of about meetings and the same people saying the same stuff week in and week out. And Patty's on the program, so she doesn't quite get all this stuff all the time, but sometimes I gotta stop and be like, you know what? I don't want to hear you again. Like, I don't want to hear you again. And these are things that I struggle with now at 18 years. Like, this guy again, we just heard him last week. It's gonna be the same thing over again. This thing and her, it's the same thing. I go, so I got to figure out what's going on with me, why that's upsetting to me. And then see, I'm always working. I'm always delving deeper into me and trying to fix what is not there with my higher powers and systems, because like you said before, it's centered in my mind, right? So I got to try and flip the script to get it to where my mind can actually help and not hinder.
Right, exactly. Well, you know what, Johnny, shit, we're gonna wrap it up now. Thank you so much, man. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations, in your recovery, and also with that young lady under your arm, bro, man. I'm so happy
Right?
for you. You guys look so happy together. And I remember, because we're very similar. Like I couldn't hang on to a girl. I remember when I first met my wife, my dad would constantly call me and tell me, "Don't screw it up, don't screw it." And like I didn't take offense to it because I knew exactly what he's talking about. After
Sure.
maybe the 100th phone call, it was a little irritating, but I understood. I understood what he was saying. So, but again, bro, congratulations, man. It's good
Thanks,
to
man.
see you. Love you so much, man. Thank you for being here with us.
Thanks, brother. Love you too, man. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll check you guys later. Okay.
Yeah. All right, bro. Thank you.
Thanks, Liga.
Okay, guys, that was my friend Danny Shu. Now, if you or somebody has a story to tell about how they got sober, it doesn't matter how they got sober to me. I'm all about this platform, sharing people sharing how they did it, how they got sober, what helped them. It doesn't have to be confined to a 12-step program or for church or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all about, reaching out a hand, extending hope to somebody else that's struggling with their addiction. So again, I usually go live on my Instagram, which is just my name. You can find me there. Also, I have an Instagram geared toward recovery in general, which is Pro Recovery Power. So it's pro underscore recovery underscore power. You can follow me there as well. But please, guys, reach out. The pandemic happened. We don't know what we're gonna do, how we're gonna get sober. I started doing this for people that are on social media, because social media is never closed. So that's why I started doing this, and I'm so happy that I am. If I can just maybe not even help somebody, if I just have the opportunity to help somebody, I'm so satisfied. I believe this is what God wants me to do. So I just stay obedient to what He wants, and everything always has gone. Maybe not even my way, but in my favor. So thank you guys again for watching. We'll see you guys later.